Hello Warpath commanders, this is Legendary Cairo. I have uploaded two parts before this. If you haven't watched those, go and watch those. You'll have the background context of the war. Right now, Goth are under a lot of pressure. F2P are charging them from this front. They are pushing forward, a lot of them. Goth are trying to hold this line, and 300 are trying to give some support from the back. But Goth are under a lot of pressure because they are fighting massively against F2P, which is a very strong alliance. Look at how many bases they have here. So many bases versus a very handful of Goth players. These are all F2P and very handful of Goth players. Some 300 in the back that are sending support and everything. But overall, this is the only part where F2P can actually get in because there is sand here and there is a choke point here which I discussed in the previous video that you can't get through to blockhouse from this part of the area. Now from the other side, as I've shown in the previous parts, as 40 are charging alongside Sen are charging. There are a lot of Sen bases here, massive army groups, and they are fighting, and as 40 are charging as well. 27 NT have been almost defeated. They are absent, very handful of them left. Now Goth have to defend against S40 around here, and they are fighting F2P, a very strong alliance on the other front as well that I just showed you. And see how many S40 troops are here, like massive whole thing of S40s here, and there's just a handful of Goth bases. Just a handful of Goth bases, but do have a CC, so they will have protection. And because 27 NT have been defeated mostly, they don't have any active players or army groups going on. Sen are charging, they have been charging and clearing out 27 NT from here as well. Just a handful of 27 NT bases parked here at the back, and Goth are protecting them from the back as well. So Goth are literally fighting on the three fronts and holding the whole C4 together. So Goth have been really impressive, to be honest. I've seen them perform very well in gold before, but this is the probably first time I'm seeing them doing so well against super alliances like S4T and F2P. This legendary is amazing, as I've talked in previous, because if they're able to hold this blockhouse, which I think they should be able to, 300 and Goth and allies, and the other blockhouse will be held by S40 and allies. So in the middle there will be another fight. We have rarely seen legendary having fight in the middle recently in the previous C4s, because it's always been S40 that had access inside, and the other side didn't even have access to get to the final battle, for the middle. So this will probably be a first time in a long time that we will witness a battle for the center right at the center, most likely. Now the issue is S40 are everywhere. God doesn't have enough bases. 27 NT has to do their job. They have to hold this front. They have to make army groups and try to support Goth or try to counter S40. Without army groups, they can't do it. 300 needs to help them as well. They are trying to hold Goth on this front, so they are pretty occupied because this side is very important to not lose. F2P have massive groups. It's very important for Goth and 300 to hold F2P on this front. But it's very hard for Goth, being squeezed from so many sides. 27 and T has to pull their weight. PFK needs to put pressure from this side as well because they have to force S40 to come back this side. They have to take out some bases, even though very strong bases like Hope. But still, they have to take the risks. They have to put pressure on this front because so many PFK bases are here. There are allies of 300M. They have to make S40 or Sen or F2P get worried about that side as well to be able to stop them here. Otherwise, they won't be stopped. S40 and Sen have complete ground control. And once you take the control of the battlefield, it's easier for you to form massive army groups and just clean out all the bases. And with the firepower of S40, the kind of big players they have, I think no base can withstand S40. Like S21 has the most biggest number of whales, I believe. Like the really big whales. I have no money counts and Dr. M or DRM players like that, and S40 has had never any problem taking them out without losing much troops even. So you can't, you basically can't hold a territory against S40. The only thing you can do is make army groups 3 to 4 to make the field play a little more complicated for S40 to be able to have the complete ground control for their howitzers and artillery and rocket launchers to have a free go at bases. If you can't counter their groups, this size of groups can't be stopped by a base or by 10 bases or by 20 bases. They will just trample on everything basically. Uh, he's super heavy, barely got half before the base was blown. So not a lot of kills. See, this is the problem of not having ground control. Then you can be attacked by anyone. So as 40 and Sun are completely dominating on this front. 27 and T has to get active and form groups to be able to counter. This war has been going on for almost 8 hours, guys. Almost 8 hours. So this is why in one of my previous videos I've talked about how important it is to have a lot of active players, not just huge players or big players, but a lot of active players at any given time frame. Because if you have players like 27 and T, they have nice set of players. It's not like they're weak lines at all. If you go through their lines, they aren't that weak of our lines, but they are compared to S40. Obviously, they like have don't have that big players, but compared, why is everyone at level one? Okay, the problem is they don't have that many active players to be running 3 to 4 groups for field control. And when you don't have 3 to 4 groups, you can't compete against alliances like S40. You need to get ground control. They should have made build more guns if they have oil.